One of my favorite things in the world to do is watch Friends. I know it's been off for years and years. It's not even around, but I still find myself binge watching old episodes. And I was thinking about this today and thinking, it's the predictability of the friends in the circle, right? You have Chandler with his quirkiness, Monica with her type A of just everything has to be so neat and tidy and organized. It's Phoebe's ability to make you laugh at her silly songs. Ross always comes in with those smart comments, and Joey and him and his food, like it is just so hilarious. And of course, Rachel, she just brings everybody together, and it's just such this beautiful, cohesive team of people. And it's why I wanted to come on and share with you today that I have an opportunity for you to find your friends in the content creation space. So if you are thinking about creating your first or your next digital course, I don't want you to miss this opportunity because Amy Porterfield just opened the doors for registration for her Course Confident Bootcamp. And I'm actually offering a special bonus for anyone that registers for the Course Confident Bootcamp through my special link. So I want you to go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp to register. That's crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp. And what you're going to find when you get there is I have this special bonus private podcast series. It's called Money Mindset for Creators. So I want you to go register for Amy's bootcamp, download the podcast, and immediately start listening to it, because what this training is set up to do is to help you get your mind right about monetizing your content, making money so that you can fuel your content creation dreams. So go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp to register for Course Confident. And I cannot wait for you to find your friends and find the people that will be there for you. Do you see what I did there? Yeah, nice little friends segue connection. Go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp. And I cannot wait to see you inside. Okay, let's get into today's episode. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Don't mind me. I'm just over here laughing because I normally will do like a mic check and then delete it, right? Because that's the whole point. You're doing a mic check to make sure that everything's good to go. But y'all, I just couldn't with today's. Oh, because it was the energy. I was feeling it. It just felt right to do that. Like, I don't know. I'm just a big goofball. There, if you didn't know it, if you've never heard me say it before, here we are admitting this on the show today. I am a big bona fide goofball. Okay, welcome. If this is your first time here, welcome to the circus that is this podcast. But I'm really excited to talk to you today about ways to have more energy podcasting. I did a YouTube video about this last week where I actually showed the behind the scenes of how I outlined and I planned this. So I'll make sure and link to that in the show notes. But I'm excited to dive into this today because I actually have a ton of energy right now, and it's really going to pay off in me telling you how I show up to this podcast with a lot of energy, because that's what I want for your show as well. So let's get right to it. Welcome to the Profit Podcast, where we teach entrepreneurs how to start, launch, and market their podcast. I'm your host, Crystal Profit, and I'm so excited that you're here. Thanks for hanging out with me today, because if you've been trying to figure out the world of podcasting, think of this show as the time-saving shortcut you've been looking for. So let's get right to it, shall we? All right, so let's settle in here. And I did want to tell you real fast, while I was getting ready to record this part of the episode, I'll record my intro and then I'll stop and I'll add in, I kind of do a little bit of the editing, but not all of the editing while I'm recording, because I think that that's distracting. If I make a mistake, I will just do a long pause and then I'll go back and edit out during those big pauses, which, to be honest, if you've been listening to this show, you know that we don't do a lot of editing around here, because I think that over editing is the killer of most podcasts, okay? If you've never heard that before, you're hearing it here first, okay? Newsflash, over editing is the silent killer. It will kill your podcast so fast. So if you're brand new to this whole journey and you're like, I need to edit everything. No, just stop. Just stop. Just know that you'll get better, okay? You will get better at creating podcast content. But I did want to tell you that what I did is I recorded the intro, then I stopped, then I added my main theme, right? That's all the things that you just heard before I started talking again. And then I made sure and zoomed out. Like I was way too zoomed in on my audio. So it's like running really fast where it's like the seconds are like passing by. But what I like to do is I like to zoom out. That way I can see when I'm recording like, oh, okay, I hit 10 minutes. Maybe I need to record for another 15 or 20 to hit that 25, 30-minute podcast episode. Does that make sense? Do these behind the scene tips help at all? Let me know. Like, tell me. Like, comment, shoot me a DM on Instagram, reach out in our Facebook community and let me know. Because I love sharing these, but then sometimes I'm like, they're just going to think I'm a total idiot whenever I say things out loud. Sometimes it's okay. It's just fair. It's just fair. Okay. Sometimes I'm like, that just feels like it's a total waste of my breath because no one really cares. No one cares about that stuff, but maybe you do. I hope you do. I hope you do. So anyway, today we're talking about ways to have more energy podcasting. And like I said, I did a recent YouTube video where I planned everything I'm going to talk to you about here today is planned. Like I'm literally holding, if you watch that video, I'm holding the notebook right in front of my face that I used in that video. So you can go watch it after we finish with this episode here today, but it's going to be in the show notes. So I'm going to tell you what that is real fast. So you can go there whenever we're done, but it's crystalprofit.com/episode 231. You will find everything that I talked about in today, but you'll see how I planned out this episode, like how all of this kind of came together because I want to share more of my actual processes for producing this show. I think that that's valuable. Like I said, maybe it's valuable. Maybe some of it you're like, Crystal, we don't care. We don't care about your mic checks and all the silly things that you do before you record. But when you want to know, well, how do you have so much energy podcasting? It's sometimes the little silly things like the mic checks and me like pretending like I'm a radio DJ and I'm like, mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, I did it again. I promise. I'll stop. I won't do it again. Okay. All right, but let's dive into ways to have more energy and just to feel more confident and just show up because y'all, oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna get up on my soapbox real fast, but holy moly, when I listen to a brand new podcaster and they're talking like this, and it really sounds like maybe they're reading from a script that they wrote out, but then they're trying to put some inflection on their words, but it's so boring. Oh my gosh. No, I won't even listen to, that wasn't even 30 seconds. Okay. I will not listen to 10 seconds of that because I will go to sleep. I don't listen to that. I don't have time to listen to that. Maybe some people are all about it. They're like, oh, I like the calming voice. If it's a meditation podcast, totally different story, totally different. I'm talking about people that listen to the show. You probably have a business or you want to have an online business and you just want to have a podcast that really inspires, motivates people, like helps them in their life in some way. You got to have some energy. Okay. So first and foremost, these are my tips for you. I have 5 tips to share with you today. Drink more water. This is number 1. Drink more water. Now, when I say that, I'm not just talking about right before you start recording, because I've seen this time and time again where people will drink coffee all throughout the day, or they're drinking tea or something that has a lot of caffeine in it all throughout the day. And then whenever they go to record their podcast, they sit down with a glass of water like, oh, that's going to be my saving grace whenever I start recording and I need something to drink. It's like it's like the safety net, like the lifeline that they're like, oh, well, I'll have my water whenever I start recording. And then that way, if I get, dry mouth or, I get kind of choked up if I'm talking and I stumble over my words or I get that little tickle in my throat that happens from time to time, I'll just reach for my water and it will help me. Okay. So many things. I feel like I'm still on my soapbox. I never actually got down. So we're just going to hang out here for a while today because this is going to feel a little preachy, but it needs to be said. You need to drink more water throughout the day, not just when you're recording your podcast, okay? Not only is it just good for you, right? Like, hello, water is good. It's the reason why so many health experts will tell you drink a lot of water. There's a reason. It's kind of like, your mom telling you need to eat more vegetables. It's the same thing. Water is good for you. So when you drink more water, you're less likely to have issues with dry mouth, having that little tickle in your throat. And it just, in my mind, for me, it just gives me more energy. Like I can tell on days where I've just been drinking coffee and I haven't had my daily same amount of water that I have on a regular weekday, I can tell a difference. My energy levels are down. I just don't feel as energized and just as much as my normal self as whenever I drink more water. Okay. So that is number one. This is how you can have more energy in your voice with your podcast. Drink more water. Stay hydrated. Yes, you're going to go to the bathroom more. Okay, I'm just going to say it. I've said this before, but I have a tiny bladder. Okay, I've had 3 kids, and for whatever reason, I have the world's smallest bladder. So this is another reason why I have more energy. It's because I'm going to go to the bathroom. I got to pee all the time, okay? This is a TMI podcast today, apparently. I'm just sharing all the things, but y'all, drink more water. It will give you that energy because you're going to have to get up and go to the bathroom. And this is a good thing. Okay. It's not a bad thing. All right. So that's number 1, drink more water. Number 2,
being a woman in business comes with its own unique set of challenges, but also so many opportunities. We get ahead by leaning in to what makes us different from business as usual. I'm Samantha Hartley, host of Profitable Joyful Consulting, inviting you to a special 6-episode series exploring the experience of being a woman in business. You want to hear from women consultants who've hit $1 million, who sell 6-figure engagements, or who've broken their own revenue ceilings? Yeah, those are my clients, and they'll be sharing too. Join me for 6 must-listen episodes that tackle key challenges for women consultants.
Follow Profitable Joyful Consulting on your favorite podcast app.
this is not a demand, right? Because I don't like to say this is a rule of podcasting. But if you find yourself with your posture not in a confident way, I want you to stand up when you're recording. So this is number 2. Stand up when you're recording. This is actually how I started my podcast, because I would sit down and I had all of this nervous energy. I don't really have that so much anymore. I do sometimes before I do a live or whenever I'm, on Clubhouse. That's a totally different story, right? I will get tons of nervous energy if I get brought up on stage and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to say? What's my question? I'm fourth in line. I'm on mute. What's actually happening? I will get very nervous. But I remember those days. This is not lost on me at all, even if it was just me, right? I wasn't going live. I wasn't doing anything. It was me and my microphone and Audacity. That's all it was on my computer. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, why am I so nervous? What, is there something wrong with me? Why do I have all this nervous energy to just speak into this microphone? I'm not talking to anybody else. Realistically, right? I know my listeners are going to hear this on my podcast, but why do I have all this nervous energy? And so the way that I dealt with that is I stood up. I had, and maybe y'all have heard this story before, and I have a picture of it. I've posted it several times on Instagram and everywhere, but I have a picture of my very first podcast interview. I took a Minecraft party box, and I talked about this in the video, and I showed a picture of it too. So if you want to know what I'm talking about, I took a Minecraft creeper head party box and I put it on top of my desk. And then I put my microphone, my little trusty $20 microphone that I started with, I put it on top of that. And that is how I started podcasting. I think I recorded at least my first 10 episodes that way because I couldn't get the position of my microphone. I didn't have a boom arm. I didn't have anything fancy. My little Fifine microphone was just plugged into my computer. It didn't even have like a stand. It was a really short, I'm like, turn around and look at it. It's like a 2 or 3 inch stand. So like, even if I put it right on the desk and I'm sitting down, I would have to adjust my desk. I totally just pictured, you remember that episode in Friends where Rachel like messes with the chair on her like her desk chair and it goes all the way to the ground and she's stuck and she can't get up? Like, that's how low I would need to sit at my desk to get this microphone to work while I'm sitting down, because that is how far away I was from it and I needed to get a lot closer. So that's why I put my microphone on top of this Minecraft creeper head party box and I put it up there, and then I got out that nervous energy because I was able to move back and forth. Even while I'm recording right now, I'm moving my hands and I do my best. Now that I do have my boom arm, it's not likely that I'm going to hit the microphone unless I get really crazy, but I move my hands. This is what feels natural to me. This is, if we were sitting here and you're sitting across, the desk from me, you're sitting in this chair right next to me, I would be using my hands while I'm talking. This is what is natural to me, okay? And I know I've said this before, but I want you to do what feels natural to you. I don't want you to adjust yourself to your microphone. I don't want you to speak quieter to make it sound better. I want you to adjust your equipment. I don't want you to sit down all hunched over and uncomfortable when you actually expand your personality whenever you're standing up, okay? So if you're having that nervous energy and you don't know how to combat it, like whenever you're just getting started, stand up while you're recording. This will give you more energy and it will help you get rid of some of that nervous energy you feel right when you're getting started. Okay, so number 1, drink more water. Number 2, stand up when you're recording. Number 3, work out. Okay, and I know this is going to vary from person to person on what you're able to do and like what you can actually do. If you have like a home gym, you have this, that, and I'm not like a health and fitness expert. Never have been. I kind of tinkered with the idea of like, oh, maybe I'll be a nutritionist one day. Didn't work out. But then that's like kind of the path that I went down on, like having a healthier lifestyle and working out more often and not eating like crap all the time. Like that definitely helped me. But I can tell you on days that I work out, okay, like listen up. Because if you're like, ugh, Crystal, I do not need someone that teaches podcasting telling me that I need to work out, okay? I'm not telling you to do anything. I am telling you what has helped me have more energy on this podcast. Because if you're here to learn how to be a better podcaster, how to have more energy, how to show up with confidence, I'm telling you the things that have worked for me. And I can tell you time and time again, whenever I work out and then I come into this office to record a podcast, I feel better about myself. I feel more confident. I feel more energetic. I just feel more alive on days that I work out as opposed to days where I'm sitting in this chair saying, I haven't gotten up in several hours, but to like go to the bathroom real fast and then I come back and I sit down. And so I'm telling you, working out absolutely helps. And I'm not saying you got to go buy a Peloton bike and start riding all the time or turn into some like boot camp CrossFit fanatic. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying go outside and go for a walk. Like if you, again, are feeling that nervous energy, or you just feel like, oh my gosh, like I just feel so restless. Like I want to sit and record my podcast, but I feel restless and I can't make it work. I can't, get my creative energy really flowing. Go take a walk outside. Like a brisk 5-10 minute walk can make all the difference in how you sit down and show up behind the microphone or how you stand up and, show up behind the mic. So working out absolutely helps me just show up more confident with more energy. And it gives me the ability to really come alive when I'm behind the microphone. Okay. So that's number 3 of the ways that you can have more energy with your podcast. Number 4 is something that I did not learn probably till about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, but this changed everything for me. I guess it would have been in 2019. So it's been more than a year. But I read the book, The One Thing. We've talked about it here on the podcast several times. This is one of my favorite books. And it's not a long book, y'all. I'm not the best at reading books. Like, I'm not like a binge reader. Like, oh, I'm constantly reading books. I don't do that. I really don't. I've got to be really into it, really excited about the author, really excited about the topic. But The One Thing is just one of those books that is just been pivotal. Oh, I'm making up words today too. Pivotal in how I show up in my business, in my life. But one of the principles they teach in that is your energy time, like your highest energy time. And I don't know what they call it in the book. I think it's like peak performance hours or something like fancy along those words. If you know me, you know, I don't do fancy. I really don't. And I make up words. So as you can tell from pivotal or whatever I just said a second ago, but what is your highest energy time? So what does this mean? So for me, and this will be different for everybody, right? Because we have morning people, we have night owls, like it just depends. Okay, hang on real fast, because when I posted this video on Instagram, I posted the video where we're talking about how I outlined this episode. Shout out to Lisa, Lisa Bills from the Not Your College Life podcast. Cracked me up so bad. Because in the video, I talked about this concept of the highest energy time. And I said, morning people. I'm enunciating it way better here because I said morning people. And she said, Crystal, it sounds like you said horny people. I just died laughing. I thought that was so funny. And so I wrote her back. I'm like, hey, Siri, add enunciating more on the podcast to my to-do list, because it was oh my gosh, I was just dying laughing. So I did not say horny people. I said there are morning people. So thank you, Lisa, for pointing that out. I just was dying laughing. It was so funny. Okay, so we got off topic. Let's reel it back in. But the highest peak energy time, because this is when you need to record. So you need to know, are you a morning person? Do you do better at 3:00 in the afternoon as opposed to 10:00 in the morning? Or do you do better at 8:00 at night instead of 7:00 in the morning? You need to know this about yourself because you need to figure out when you should record your podcast. So for me, I don't like to record first thing in the morning, mostly because my kids are still asleep, right? And then it's chaos. And then what if one of them wakes up and busts into the office? Like it's a whole schedule conflict for me in the morning. So I don't record between the hours of 5 a.m. till about 9. I really don't. I don't even think about, I'll plan, or maybe I'll edit at that time. I always edit in the mornings. I typically do, because I'll edit either 2 days before, a few days before the actual episode is due to be published. And so I don't like to do recording in the morning, but I will do editing in the morning. And then that's when I'll create my show notes and, post and do scheduling for Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. But I don't like to record in the morning. I also know that I am not good at recording when I'm hungry. So I don't need to record right before lunchtime because y'all, my stomach will growl. Oh my gosh. I bet there's been times that I recorded before lunchtime and you're like, what's the noise? Did Crystal just fart while she was recording her podcast? Is that really what just happened? No, it was my stomach growling and grumbling because I was recording on an empty stomach. So I know that if I'm hungry before I start recording my podcast, I need to go get a snack. Okay. And it needs to be a light snack because then you'll run into burping issues and all kinds of stuff. Y'all, this is just the TMI episode today. Okay. We're just laying it all out there. Burps, farts, peeing too much, all the things. We're just going to talk about it all because we need to talk about this stuff. It's very important to know that you're not the only one that experiences these things and you don't need to record on an empty stomach. It's not good. You need to have energy. You need to, one, nourish yourself, get a little snack, something like that. But also you need to make sure that you have the right amount of energy. So for me, I have found that recording in the afternoon, whenever I've had my afternoon cup of coffee, is kind of my jam. It's really my sweet spot, but not too far into the afternoon, like 3 o'clock and beyond is really not great for me. Now, it's funny because it's not great for my solo episodes. I don't really do well. I kind of lose focus, and it's not a peak performance time for me. So I don't like to do my solo episodes, but I will do podcast interviews I will schedule them up to 3 o'clock because I'm not doing it alone at that point, right? I'm feeding off the energy of my guest and talking to them, and they're the ones mostly doing the talking because that's how a podcast interview should be. You shouldn't be, as the host, the one doing most of the talking in an interview. So I'm really feeding off their energy, and I just get excited to talk to people that come on the show. So I know that my highest energy time, yes, it is in the morning because I'm a morning person, but I don't utilize that time to record. I like to record anywhere from 9 a.m. to about 11 and then stop, take a break, eat lunch, have my little cup of coffee because it's what I do, and then record between like 1 and 3. So around 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 1 to 3 are my peak recording hours. This is when I record my podcast. It's when I record my YouTube videos, and it's when I do my live videos because I feel good. I have more energy. So find out, like this is your assignment. After you listen to this, like ask yourself, when is my peak energy time? When do I feel just more alive throughout the day? Because we all have this. Like none of us are unicorns and can be on 100% of the time. It's just not possible. So like I said, go read The One Thing. This is where I really tapped into this concept of utilizing certain hours of my day to do certain tasks because they have just really helped me be more productive and get more done. Okay, so the last one that I have to share with you today, okay? The last way to have more energy podcasting, and then we'll do another recap, but having a plan. Okay, so I don't know about you, but if I sit down to record and I don't have my notes in front of me, I don't have a Google Doc or, my notebook or something else that I've used to plan an episode, I'm just like, I'll just wing it. I don't even have a Post-it, right? I just have something in front of me. I feel the energy draining out of me immediately because all my energy is in my brain going, what the heck am I supposed to say next? What was I talking about? Where was I trying to take this conversation? So I still have the energy. It's just being wasted in trying to figure out what I'm freaking trying to say. And that's not fun. Y'all, when we talked about like over editing is a silent killer, like not knowing what you're going to say is another way to burn out podcasting really fast. And if you're brand new to me and you haven't heard me say this before, one of my missions in life is to make sure that podcasters don't quit, that they avoid burnout at all costs, like at all costs. I do not want you feeling overwhelmed. I don't want you feeling like, oh, this is too much work. Like, is this just even worth it? Why am I even doing this? No. I want podcasting to be fun for you. I don't want it to be stressful when you sit down to record and like your shoulders tense up and you just get all slumped and you're just like, oh, why am I doing this? What am I even doing here? No, I don't want that to happen to you. So I want you to have a plan. And if you're sitting here listening to this, you're like, well, what does that even look like? I want you to go to the show notes, crystalprofit.com/episode 231, episode 231. Go to the show notes for this episode because I'm going to link to the YouTube video, y'all. And this was not, okay, full disclosure, okay. When I'm recording this is right after the Texas, like really bad winter storm that we just had, okay. I had on zero makeup. Actually, I think I put on like just a little bit of mascara. I had my beanie on. I had this little hat on because I hadn't washed my hair in probably 4 or 5 days. Like it was scary under that cap, but I knew I wanted to record a video. I wanted to talk about what we were talking about today. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to share my thought process for how I outline an episode. So if you're just like, I don't know how to create a plan, go watch that video. Go watch that video because I want you to see just how easy it is. And if you're like, well, Crystal, you've been doing this for a while. You know how? No. This is how I've always done my podcast, okay? Maybe sometimes my outlines are more detailed and they have a lot more information because I'm sharing like really deep, meaty subjects here with you. But most of the time, okay, 90% of the time, I literally just write a few bullet points on a piece of paper, on a Post-it, in my planner, in a Google Doc, and I just go off of that because I know this stuff in and out. I know podcasting. It's what I live and I breathe, and I want you to have a podcast that you know, like you know your topic. You're not guessing, like, is this what I'm supposed to share? Is this what my audience really wants to hear? I want you to be so in touch with who your audience is, what they want to hear from you, how you can engage with them, because that is what is going to make podcasting that much more fun, that much easier for you. And it just makes it so much better. You get excited to sit down and record. This is another reason why I have so much energy. Y'all, did you hear? This whole podcast today is all about energy. Like, I just gave you like bonus ways to have more energy, because whenever you know your content, you're connected with your audience, and you just know that this is the type of content that was created just for them, and they're going to be so dang excited to hear it. You have so much more energy to deliver that important message that you have to share. Y'all, I feel like I can step down off the pulpit, off my soapbox today, because today, like, this required a lot of energy, because I wanted to bring you the information that has helped me show up for this podcast week after week. Like, we're going on 3 years of this show, and I'm just like blown away that, first of all, the podcast has been just so incredible. I'm so grateful for every single one of you that are listening to this show, because I am living my dream. I am able to sit here and help you every single week, share important information that's going to help you become a better podcaster, a better show host, a better listener to your audience, and help you share your message. And that just makes me so incredibly happy. It's another reason why I have so much energy whenever I show up and record for you today, and I can make my stupid little mic check 1 2 1 2. Okay, I said I wouldn't gonna do it again, but I had to. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. So, ways to have more energy podcasting. Number 1, drink more water. Y'all, just drink like an extra cup a day to get started, okay? Take baby steps, but drink more water. You need it. It's going to be good for you. 2, stand up when you're recording. Go watch the video. If you're like, oh, I don't have a standing desk, I need to go buy. No, you don't. You don't need to go buy anything. I'm sure you got an Amazon box sitting somewhere in your garage or in one of your kids' rooms. There's something in there. Like, just get creative. You don't need to buy anything else. You can make this work with something that you have in your house. Number 3, working out. Like I said, this doesn't have to be a freaking gladiator boot camp. Just take a brisk walk before you start recording. Like, do some jumping jacks, like dance it out, like get some of that energy out. So when you sit down to record, you're not nervous and fidgety. Like, you can actually concentrate on the message that you're trying to share. Number 4, figure out your highest energy times. And that's when you need to record. Don't do it at midnight when you're like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I should be asleep, but I need to record this podcast. Don't do that. Figure out your highest peak times for you to record and make it happen in those times. And number 5, have a plan. Again, go watch the video, see how simple it is to create a plan for your podcast, figure out your episodes, and make it work. But that's all I have for you today. So again, everything we talked about, including the video that I created for this episode, can be found at crystalprofit.com/episode 231. And if this is your first time listening, welcome to the circus. Welcome to this crazy world of podcasting where I am the ringleader and also just, the clown in the corner juggling all the things. So I'm so happy that you're here. Make sure that you subscribe wherever you're listening to the podcast. Take a screenshot and share it on Instagram. Like tag me and say, Crystal, you are bananas and you just shared all the important things today and we are done listening to bodily functions on the podcast. I don't care. Just share it. I would love to hear the comments that you have about this episode today. But that's all I have for you. I hope that you have a fantastic day, and I hope that you bring more energy to your podcast with all the ways that we talked about here today. And as always, remember, keep it up. We all have to start somewhere. Hey, Profit Podcast listeners. Thanks for sticking around to a little bit after the episode to hear this special message because I want to hear from you. We are starting a new segment called Fan Mail Shoutouts, and I want to hear from you and I want to hear your questions. What do you want to know? What questions have you been dying to ask me? So here's how to make this happen. Go to the app where you're listening to this podcast right now. Go there. I'll wait a second. Okay. Now, once you're there, you're going to see a hyperlink at the top of the episode description that says, send Crystal a text message. And that's all I want you to do. Send me a text. It could be casual, informal. It could be totally anonymous. Or if you want, you can include your name and the name of your podcast or content wherever you are creating, and I will give you a special shout out in an upcoming episode. So again, go to the show notes for where you're listening to this episode right now, and it will say, send Crystal a text message. And I cannot wait to hear from you and give you a shout out in an upcoming segment of Fan Mail Shoutouts.